Hi guys, it's Kelly and I am back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today we are using all the flowers. I love flowers. I know that sometimes people get sick of seeing them. Some companies are like, I've produced so many flowers. I love flowers. I don't know why my brain sees flowers and it has like all the ideas. It just is like, oh, look at all these ideas I have. So I'm doing a more fall inspired color palette because we're heading into October. It's almost here. I can't believe it. But so I have a piece of Canson Monteval watercolor paper here. It is cut larger than a card front. So I'm just giving myself some guidelines about where the actual card front size would be. Then inside that, I'm going to draw a rectangle because I'm doing more of like a framed idea. I don't know if you guys ever, like, if you start out with a plan. Some people start out with sketches. Some people have a very clear idea of what they want to do. Most of the time, when I'm doing a card, I am just flying by the seat of my pants. Like, I think this would look super cute framed in, and then whatever happens, happens. Like, I just let it happen. So I framed it in. I'm going to mask the bottom part of it. I'm using Eclipse masking tape on the bottom. You'll see me later on use the Scotch masking tape. And I just want to make something of note there that with the Eclipse will absorb your ink, which is the one I tend to use if I'm not doing multiple stampings over the same mask, because it doesn't sit on top of the paper. The Post-it does not soak through, so if you're going to be using multiple colors like the mask over and over again, that one's the better option. But the ink does sit on top of it, so you increase your chances for smudging. Just something to note between the two of them. So, like I said, I have no real game plan heading into this. I originally thought, okay, so I'll just mask all of the areas and have them like this square of Cosmos or this field of Cosmos just be within this square. So I've added that Post-it note tape to the right-hand side. I'm going to stamp down my next Cosmo. I am stamping all of these twice. First of all, because it's got a lot of detail in the center. Second of all, because I am stamping on watercolor paper, which is a little bit more textured. So I'm stamping and masking as I go. I'm masking the sides, but then also masking the flowers so that they will be one layer and make sense. And then once I started stamping this one here on the left-hand side, and I did use all three of the flowers from the set and then just one of the extra leaves to kind of fill in. Once I stamped this one and then I removed the mask, I realized that I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And this is one of the things that's the beauty about using the Misty or any other stamp positioner that you might have. So I stamped down the flower and then I'm going to remove the mask, and I just don't, I'm like, just nah. Like in the middle of it, I'm like, nope, this ain't it. So since I, am using the Misty, I just inked my flower back up and then stamped it down again so that it was overhanging. And I liked that much better, but I could do it with almost no issues because I use a stamp positioner. So then I'm going to go back to that other flower that I previously masked, the one on the right-hand side. And I remove the mask, and then I'm just going to line that stamp back up and then stamp it down again. And nobody will even know that I originally had masked it, and that wasn't how I had intended to stamp it. I'm going to fill in with the rest of the, with the flowers, and I need to apologize, so I owe you an apology. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was camera gremlins or if it was user error. This was very early in the morning when I was doing this. It's about 7 a.m. And, I'm not a morning person. Like, are you a morning person? You a night owl? I see this question all the time, like on little Facebook groups and stuff like that. Morning person, night owl. I'm definitely a night owl. I get it. I come by it naturally from my mother. And then they have that cute little meme that says, like, I'm not a morning person or a night owl. I'm a permanently exhausted pigeon, which might be closer to the truth, honestly. So you can see here that we all of a sudden, like, poof, magic, have this Distress Oxide background. I don't know if I forgot to press the record button or if my camera just ate the footage. But either way, I don't have it to give to you. My apologies. I will tell you what I did. I painted the whole background with clean water. Then I dropped in some Distress Oxide inks. I'll have all the colors linked below. And then that was it. That was all I did to it. I just dropped the colors in and then I let it dry while I took my son to school. Here, I'm going to do some watercolor stamping. I really kind of wanted to fill up the background, but I wanted it to be more subtle. So I am very lightly tapping my Distress Oxide ink pad onto my stamp. And then from about 5 or 6 inches away, I'm spritzing 2 to 3 times just clean water to give it that watercolor look. And then I'm going to stamp it in the background. If there was an area that I did not want to stamp, i.e. the stem and the leaves, I'm just looking for the bloom most of the time. I just wiped it off with a baby wipe. You're also probably going to want to wipe off your stamp and acrylic block in between, even if you're using the same color, because you're adding water to the stamp. If you add too much, it can cause some like dripping. It'll sit on your acrylic block, so it can drip onto your project. You don't want that either. I just thought it was like a super fun way. You can see it much better in real life and in the photos. So if you're watching on YouTube, I would encourage you to head over to the blog to check out the actual pictures. You can see the stamping in the background much better. And I'm just going to do a couple of these. I think it's just like I said, just a fun way to add some texture without any real effort. You don't have to mask anything. You don't have to worry about whether or not your colors are going to match. They're already all in the background. Just a way to kind of fill up and give that illusion of a full field of flowers without having to stamp like 8 flowers with the masks and all that jazz. So once I'm done stamping, I'm going to go ahead and heat set this before I move on to the next part of the background, which is just some flicking on some clean, clear water. I waited too long, I think. I think that's what happened here. So I flicked on the clean, clear water, and then I blotted it up with a paper towel, and it didn't move the pigment as much as I wanted it to. So then I tried again. So I put more, flicked more water on there, and then I let it sit for a good minute. Like, obviously, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it for a minute, but I did let it sit for a minute. And even then, I didn't get great pick up. Like I said, I think I waited too long. Because it is Happy Fall, y'all, I am using gold perfect pearls instead of regular perfect pearls because gold perfect pearls really matched my color scheme and they are super pretty. So I'm just going to flick these on random, like in the background, so that there's these gold spatters. When they're wet, they don't look amazing. They kind of blend into the background. But once you dry them down, they do look, very shiny, very metallic, and they're opaque. So they're going to sit right on top of whatever it is that you have going on in your background. And I kind of love that. So just going to dry those down. And then that's the background. Again, I apologize that the painting isn't in there, but I'll show you all the Copic coloring, like all the Copic coloring. Here I picked out, basically I'm using yellows, oranges, and pinks. Even if you only add one color, okay, which is you can see what I'm doing here. I'm adding shading out from the base of the petal and in from the tip of the petal so that the highlight's in the center. Even if you only use one color with this, you can see already, just using that one color, how it brings that flower forward, how it kind of defines it and makes it more of a focal point. Now, I don't know when to stop and I love adding all of the detail. So I am going to use all 4 colors. I'm going to do the same thing every time, just a very light touch using just the tip of the marker, flicking out the color towards the center from the base and in from the edge toward the center, leaving that highlight. And you would think that adding like a yellow over this background, you wouldn't be able to see it, but you can. Because Copics are transparent and they're buildable, when you put them over a background, it does change the color. So don't think that your color is too light. Now, if you're using something like a YO2 and that's the only marker that you use, you don't add any other darker shading, it will be more difficult to see. But definitely give it a try, at least with 1 or 2 markers. Like if 4 is overwhelming for you, that's okay. If you want to do 2, or even 3, like just do what you're comfortable with up to a point. Like go one past what you're comfortable with. Do it. You can do it. One past what you're comfortable with. Like push those boundaries. So these are the yellows I'm going to be using. I'm going to use these for the center of the flowers as well. And for that, I just kept it very simple. I filled it in with the lightest color, and then I'm doing little stippling dots inside the center of it, just so for some color variation. And I'm using the same color combo for the yellow flower that's going to be in the top right-hand side. So originally, when I did this video, my original intention was to tell you the story of my maintenance men. But the story of my maintenance men is so long and convoluted that even this video, which is like nearly 20 minutes long, is not long enough to tell you the adventures of the maintenance men. So I was like, well, I don't even know really what story I'm going to tell. Because I don't, like, a lot of people are like, well, I come for the card and I stay for the stories, and I talk about things that just happen in my regular life, but sometimes things like don't happen in my regular life. We talked the other week before about like my daily commute and the frustrating day that I had. I had the same thing, happen to me yesterday, the same kind of commute. I was running late. I had purchased a alcohol lift ink re-inker. I think that's what it's called. The Tim Holtz one where it lifts up the ink. You guys know what I'm saying. I had purchased a re-inker and it's been sitting on my countertop, which is my own fault. I never moved it, for probably about a month. And my son decided that it would be a super good time to paint himself with the re-inker. Yeah. Both thighs. Straight up. Both thighs. Re-inker. Used almost the entire bottle. And this was right before I had to leave to go teach at the college. So I pretty much just like change his clothes, throw him in the car, drop him off to my mama, and I'm like, he needs a bath. Sorry about your luck. Thankfully my mom just does all of the things and I'm so grateful. But then I was trying to get to the college in rush hour traffic. That was nightmarish. I didn't have time to stop for coffee. Also, I realize first world problems, but I need coffee to survive my life. So all of those things working against me. Then I get to the college and I have like an over the shoulder bag that I keep the textbooks in and my laptop and all of those things. No joke. I pull it out of the passenger seat, put it up on my shoulder. The moment it touched my shoulder, the strap breaks and then the whole bag just goes crashing to the parking lot. Like that was just the kind of day I had. But then I went inside and I was lucky enough to get some coffee, and then like we started rolling with class and teaching, and it just totally changed my mood. Like I was just in so much of a better mood. I so enjoy engaging with people, with these students, and teaching things and talking about things that I'm passionate about. Just so blessed to be able to do that and to have the opportunity to. It was a really good day. And I think especially when you're talking about something that you do love and that you're so comfortable with. Like I've been dispatching for a long time. So teaching somebody how to dispatch is not, like that ain't no thing for me. I could talk about that all day long because I'm just so comfortable with it. Now the technology of it is fluid. So that is always changing, but the core things don't. And since we're at beginner level here, it's really just easy to have fun with it. And I absolutely love it. So I added some white highlights with my white gel pen. Why was that hard to remember? I don't know. And then I'm going to go back in, especially with the oxides. I like to go in and re-outline them because that chalk finish sits on top of the black and they don't really pop forward. And I love a bold black outline. You guys know this. So anywho, when I started that little random rant about my going to work, what I was going to say is I try to talk to you guys about things that happen to me. But there aren't always interesting things that happen to me. So, like sometimes I don't have a story to tell and then I feel bad and because I am a person who, just, I guess, is very real and straightforward. It's hard for me to be like, pre-plan my stories, because then I don't feel like they sound genuine or organic. Like I literally just sit down in front of the microphone, and what are we at? Where I think we're at like the 15-minute mark, and I just talk. That's it. Like I just sit down, and sometimes there are things that happen in the video. Sometimes there are things that roundabout come through from that, but I never, just like my cards where I'm like a wing and a prayer, that's pretty much how my voiceovers are as well. So if sometimes they're rambly or they don't make any sense, or like just bear with me, because I legit have no game plan. So here I'm stacking up this, I've cut this Grateful die out of black, and then I think 4 more times out of white, so that it would be nice and thick and it would sit up from the background. I'm just using Tombow Mono multi-glue to put them together, and the black one will obviously go on top, so everything is matchy-matchy, because I got a problem with that. And going to use those little, I heat embossed those little labels, which is from the stamp set. And there's so many combinations for that, which I absolutely love. I actually had a hard time picking out what I wanted the sentiment to say. So I settled on So Very Grateful for You. I love framing things in. I love it. I love having those clean lines to kind of anchor your image and make everything cohesive. So I am going in with my T-square ruler and that same Covic Safe EK Success journaling pen, and I'm just drawing in a frame. I'm not drawing through the flowers, I'm drawing around them. But then this just, it gives it such a cleaner look, and I really love that. I'm going to use the Tombow Mono multi-glue to put down the Grateful. I opted to go for the bottom left-hand side instead of the bottom right-hand side. We all have our preferences. I just have a preference for the bottom right, but I opted to go for the left because that was the emptier of the areas. So that's kind of how I chose that design-wise. I put that down, and then I'm going to pop up these little labels around that. So it will say, So Very Grateful for You. I don't know when this quote unquote love of the, or trend of the white embossing on black is going to go by the wayside, but I have no idea how I made a sentiment before or how I will make one after, because I just put it on everything. Like, I love it so much, I just put it on everything. I'm going to add some clear wink of Stella to this die cut just to give it a little bit more shimmer. I thought about putting down sequins, and then I decided against it. I just didn't want to take away from any of the flowers. So this is the whole card. Thank you guys so much for joining me and hanging out, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.